charity. This is transactional influence buying and ideological capture. This is so that the people within these universities serve those countries, the Arab oil nations and the CCP, not America. The issue is not completely stopping international students from coming. It's being honest about the best and the brightest. And we're seeing that that is a lie. The other thing is, I saw somewhere, and this is anecdotal, but the class of 2025, approximately 30% of these Americans cannot even find jobs. So, I mean, something has to be done. Americans are getting undercut by these international students.
By the way, I'm much hardcore. I think for initially all the foreign students, all visas ought to be stopped for foreign students until we find out that American students can get jobs. This is about American citizens and American kids. Jackie, you're on fire there in Manhattan. Where do people go to find out more about you? What's your social media feed, ma'am?
Okay, my Instagram is Jacqueline for NYC. That is JACQUELINE_FORNYC. And my Substack is Supermoms Activated. I'm active on both. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Keep fighting. Okay. The maximalist strategy. You got to do it. You only got one chance to save this country. And I'm very honored. We're going to take a short break. We're going to leave you with the right stuff. We're going to come back with people that have the right stuff, the truckers that brought to our attention what's going on in this country about having folks that can't even speak or read English, foreign drivers that were dominating the trucking industry. But it looks like that's going to stop, and the reason is you in this audience and these great patriots about to join us. Also, Jack Posobiec. We're going to go from Ukraine to Gaza to Persia, all of it, and John Bolton, all next in the War Room.
It's just like our new house. I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? If AHS can't fix your covered item, they'll replace it, no matter its age. Sign up today at ahs.com.
Thinking about travel? Think AMAC. AMAC members have access to special money-saving discounts on hotels, car rentals, cruises, and more, so you can save money on every adventure. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to saving money on travel and so much more, think AMAC.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men, the first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. Fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit particlemen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.particlemen.com. Because seeing is believing.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
In part to Gavin Newsom's sanctuary policies. Now, Donald Trump's first administration denied him commercial driving privileges in the country, but then Joe Biden's administration gave it to him. In other words, more blood on many Democrats' hands, as far as I am concerned. Now, because of Democrats' obsession, aiding and abetting the law breaking, those illegals, those people that enter our country, don't respect our laws, border and sovereignty, even institutionalizing it in states that are sanctuary, that offer those protections like California. Because without California, without Joe Biden's insane policies, 3 Americans in Florida would not have been in this preventable crash. But the Trump administration, they are now taking action to secure our roads. Just moments ago, about an hour ago, Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the following announcement. Quote, he said, effective immediately, we are pausing all issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish, in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Friday, 22 August, Year of our Lord 2025. Thank you so much for sticking around for the second hour of the morning edition of the War Room. This afternoon, also going to have from 5 to 7, the afternoon early evening edition. It'll be on fire. So much going on today. We're absolutely packed. We've had to kind of rejigger the show a little bit because of the raid on Bolton's house. The great Jack Posobiec, a naval intelligence officer, a former naval intelligence officer, is going to join us on this because the Bolton raid is going to have massive implications to what's going on now because he's one of the biggest cheerleaders. He's the Neocon's Neocon. Also, hopefully I'll play the clip we got it later. Karl Rove, and I kid you not, one of the architects, and particularly the information war architects of the Iraq War, right? Actually went on Fox and in the Wall Street Journal and said, and I told you this was going to happen, said if President Trump doesn't work and get a deal that's suitable to Zelensky and this crowd and the European elites, this will be his Afghanistan, right? This is not Trump's war whatsoever. And the Europeans have told us they're not prepared to do any serious commitments on the security guarantees, which this audience has been months ahead of anybody else because we've talked about it. Not prepared to do any what we call line of contact security guarantees, which is the meaningful guarantees. They want the United States to do it. So the whole Ukraine thing, President Trump said, hey, look, if Zelensky gets a meeting with Putin, that's great. I'm not going to be part of the bilat. I'm not going to set it up. The reason is he saw the Europeans that got on the plane and they fell apart. Nothing serious. So we're going to break all that down in a moment. When I talk about a maximalist strategy, I mean in every aspect, we have to understand this gets to the recess and the recess appointments. We are burning daylight. We only have so much time, and we're against the concentration of industrial power, the concentration of financial power, the concentration of technological power, right, to try to sort this mess out and get this country back on its footing of being America first. That means like on this redistricting, which this audience, you drove the victory in Texas when nobody would talk about it, and Abbott didn't want to do it, and Patrick didn't want to do it, and Speaker Burrow didn't want to do it. And I totally respect it. I know we follow the president's true socials on this one. He's trying to be, magnanimous to down in Texas, but his true social on Burrow, right, is not the perspective of the war room. That guy is a sad sack and didn't want to do anything. And no Democrats have really been punished down there. Or they're talking about some $9,000 penalty. We have to have a maximalist strategy everywhere. What do I mean by that? Well, there's the redistricting wars. If we're going to get to 100 seats, let's get on with it. Let's get to 100 seats. We've gotten 5 right now. There's another 5 in Texas, another 10 around the country. That gets us 20. Let's go for it. I want all 20. And I want to defeat Newsom in California. We got to get on that because the 2028 race has started, and Newsom's running for president. And by the way, if he wins in November, he's going to be the Democratic candidate. Write that down. It's not going to be Pritzker. You saw what Pritzker did with this redistricting for the 2 weeks. It's a sad sack. Not going to happen. I don't care if he's got $5 billion put into it. None of those governors. It's going to be Newsom. So just get that reality, focus on it, and let's defeat this guy. Also, across the board in policies, this is why it's happening in Washington, D.C., is a template for the rest of the nation. Boom. Let's do it in Los Angeles. Let's do it in Chicago. Let's do it in New York. What's happening right now with that amphibious group in the 4,000 Marines and other troops and sailors have been assigned to Southcom right now, going to the Caribbean. The great Alex Jones yesterday said, it broke some news, hey, they're getting ready to have military interdictions, kinetic interdictions against the cartels in Mexico and maybe Central America. Let's get on with it. That's America first. That's the hemisphere we want to clear up. The 55 million visas we got to go through. We're going to dump half of those visa holders or have their visas pulled like tomorrow and told they got 30 days to get out of the country. Get out. You wouldn't have an affordability problem. You just saw in the truckers, and I want to bring in the folks that brought this to our attention so the War and Posse could get on with it. Cord McGill, Shannon Everett, and we have Danielle Chafin, who is a logistics expert. Cord, I want to start with you, then I'll go to Shannon. Talk to me about what happened the other day with this case, this event that finally brought to the nation's attention, what you guys have been arguing for a while, about these commercial driver licenses that are given to particularly Mexican citizens, Mexican nationals that can't speak English, can't read English, and not going to abide by any rule. You scared the hell out of people when you came on a month or so ago, a couple of months ago, and alerted the American citizens to what this problem was. And now you've had guys killing people on highways, as you guys predicted it was going to happen unless it got cleaned up. So walk me through the case of what exactly happened here.
So on Tuesday, August 12th, we saw a pretty serious crash on the Florida Turnpike near Fort Pierce. A gentleman who came into the United States illegally by the name of Harjinder Singh, behind the wheel of this semi, as you see in the clip you're playing, attempted to execute an illegal U-turn across the Florida Turnpike. And in doing so, he pulled right in front of 3 people in a minivan driving 70 miles an hour who were instantly killed. The problem with this incident is this isn't the only one. There have been a string of these crashes and collisions involving insourced labor on American highways. Back in June, we saw in Terrell, Texas, a gentleman from Cuba working for one of these dodgy chameleon carriers, hauling a load for the United States Postal Service, fell asleep at the wheel because the company he worked for backdoored into his electronic logging device, fudged his hours, and allowed him to drive until he couldn't drive anymore, and he wiped out most of an entire family in Texas. Then we had another one in Austin, Texas in March. This is repeated. It's daily. A couple of days after the crash in Florida, we had 6 or 7 semis get in an accident on the same stretch of Interstate 70 in Illinois. These are daily occurrences. A friend of mine who's a trucker, he just left Vermont the other day, called me and said he keeps getting detoured from all these crashes. And most of the time, we're finding it's drivers who've been insourced here from other countries and been given fraudulent or questionable CDLs, many of which are downstream of this program that Joe Biden started in 2021 under his trucking task force, where instead of listening to industry experts, tell him, hey, we need to get trucks moving. We need to fix the detention problem. We need to pay drivers more and improve the material conditions of American truckers' jobs. They completely ignored all of that expert advice. And downstream of that task force, we have seen at very least, 500,000 migrants, refugees, and illegals issued CDLs by about 10 states, as identified by my colleague Shannon Everett here at American Truckers United. And America's highways are flooded with people who often don't speak English, have got very little training, very little vetting, and clearly don't know what they're doing because they keep getting in these accidents all the time. It's economic warfare against America's well-trained truckers.
Gord, before I go to Shannon, hang on a second. The guy did an illegal on the Florida freeway, that huge interstate. He tried to do a U-turn, an illegal U-turn in the middle of that, and the folks in the minivan ran into him.
That's correct.
Unbelievable. Gord McGill, hang on for 1 second. We'll go to Shannon. Shannon, please explain to this audience what the logic is of why in the United States of America we need 500,000 aliens given commercial driver's license to compete against American drivers. What is the logic of that, sir?
Well, it's an irresponsible logic that's been parroted by the lobbyist group in Washington, D.C. And so it's not necessary. You know, there's been this narrative that's been pushed out into the industry that says that we have a driver shortage. And it's always continuously seems to be the same number of 80,000 drivers. When we first started bringing awareness to this issue, we found very quickly that we had over 6 million CDLs as reported by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's website online. But when we made that statement, when we made that claim, it was like, well, that number's bad. That data is bad. Well, if that data is the only public source of data that's available for everyone to use to make the claims on how many CDL drivers we have in the United States, how can you also tell us that there's a shortage? If we don't have the data, how can you have a number that tells us how many drivers we don't have? The answer is there is no shortage. If there was a shortage, they wouldn't just be pulling drivers from third world countries. They would be pulling drivers from everywhere they could possibly recruit them from. But what we've identified is that the 10 states that are responsible for flooding our highways with all of these unvetted, untrained, and unqualified drivers are only insourcing drivers from third world countries. Countries like Serbia, countries like Ethiopia, countries like India, Ecuador, Honduras. These are all places where the workers from those countries have third world living standards, that they're comfortable receiving third world living wages. And so they're able to come in here and displace American workers when they don't have to be paid a prevailing wage, when they don't have to pay any federal income taxes, they don't have to pay any state income taxes, they don't have to receive any health care benefits. And that's because the majority of all of these workers that they've brought in and issued these CDLs are not here on proper work visas. They're here on, and they're abusing these B1 visitor visas. They're abusing these EAD cards, these employment authorization documents, and they're being issued an unusual new phenomenon, what everyone now knows to be this non-domicile CDL. And so prior to the Biden administration issuing new guidance and saying that these rogue states could issue non-domiciled CDLs, our trucking industry was not experiencing this phenomenon. And so this is completely new. And, I think it's a blessing that God is using Steve Bannon and the War Room Posse, that God's using Secretary Marco Rubio and Secretary Duffy, because there are people all across this country who are brokenhearted. They're broken-spirited because either their families have been killed and they don't really understand the circumstances of how that was possible. Or you also have families who have lost generations of wealth as the companies that they own and operate have been subsidizing losses for the last 3 to 4 years as they try to compete with this new ecosystem of drivers that we've never had to compete with before.
Hang on for 1 second. We're going to hold you guys through the break. Jack Basilio is also going to join us. I won't hold you through the break because you have economic warfare against the backbone of this country, and that's the truck drivers, right? And truck drivers is also a generational thing. It goes down. There are many, many families that passes down generation to generation, just like my family was a phone company family, right? Or part of the family are firemen. Get folks in these industries, right? And they pass it down to their kids. They pass it down to their grandkids. Economic warfare plus a clear and present danger to American families on American highways. How can that possibly be? The forces of industry concentration are at the center of this. This just didn't happen. This is what the lobbyists are arguing. Just like they argue in Silicon Valley. But the thing they hate most, this is why you got all these student visas. They don't want American citizens to have these jobs. They don't want it. They either want to automate it with artificial intelligence or want to get a foreign worker in here that'll work for 1/3 the wage in horrific conditions. That is why our fight is against the concentration of economic power. That's why you're a populist. That's why you're economic nationalist. These globalists, right, and these neocon neoliberals, and we're seeing that today from Jackson Hole with Powell and the central banks all the way to the raid on John Bolton's house in suburban Maryland. Short commercial break. We'll return to the War Room and Americans Truckers next.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men, the first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. Fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit particlemen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.particlemen.com. Because seeing is believing.
Tired of the hassle and high costs of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-976-9718. That's 1-800-976-9718, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Hello, America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored, and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec,
and so many more.
Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
Okay, Jack Posobiec's going to join me in a moment. We're going to get to this developments in Ukraine. Everything President Trump did, remember, it's bad opportunity costs, all unraveled. Why? Because the European elites are gutless. They want the United States to bail them out one more time. We did it in World War I. We did it in World War II. We did it in the Cold War. They want a fourth time. It's not going to happen. We'll get all to that in a moment and tie it back to the John Bolton situation. I want to go back to his target. Gord, McGill, explain to me how many, because you have economic warfare against the backbone of this country, which are the truckers, right? But you also have putting all of American society in jeopardy. How many, because the thing's so bad, what trucker would do a U-turn in the middle of a freeway unless you didn't know where the hell you were, couldn't understand the language, didn't know anything about the rules of the road? How many American citizens, sir, do you think have been killed by these alien truckers, which you guys are estimating are 500,000? In the United States? How many citizens have been killed by these people?
Well, it's hard to nail that down because the statistics aren't exactly counted based on what their work authorization is or where they come from. You sort of have to infer it. That said, the Wall Street Journal and CBS have done separate investigations into these sort of scummy carriers who are the main choice of Amazon. When you see an Amazon trailer going down the road, 99% of the time, it's not an Amazon truck pulling it. It's a subcontractor. And Amazon Relay uses these, small companies who are typically also owned by in-source labor, like recent arrivals who figure out the scams and then bring their co-ethnic homeboys. And in those two investigations, they found that 150 people had been involved in died from collisions involving these contractors to Amazon. My estimate is that the number of people killed in the United States by in-source labor, given questionable CDLs, has got to be in the minimum of 4 figures.
Wow. 4 figures. Good Lord. So hang over 1,000. So hang over a second. Danielle Chafin, you're a logistics specialist when it comes to trucking, tied in the logistics system. You're also, I think, third generation. Your grandfather was a trucker. Your father's a trucker. I don't understand. When I look at your videos or look at the things that you put up, at this sophistication of this logistics system and how the trucker is the tip of the spear of that, how can people who don't understand English, can't read English, the 500,000 people can't be adding to that value chain? Are they just employed by these trucking? Because you got major lobbyists in the trucking industry that are pushing for this. Why are they pushing for this when it's such a complicated? It's actually a complicated profession that you've got to be tied into a very sophisticated database and logistics system, ma'am.
I certainly think that the push of this truck driver shortage narrative that we've had since 1987 and really pushed for it around 2015, 2016, and it is perpetual. It's never ending driver shortage, 80,000 forever. I don't know. It's a magical number. We push that, and then the government is subsidizing the drivers to go to those CDL schools. So they're going to the CDL schools for free. Someone's getting paid for that. The American taxpayers are paying into the chaos that we're trying to stop. And there are
hang on. Are you saying that are the foreign you're saying the foreign drivers of these bigger companies are recruiting actually go to the commercial driver license school to get the license that's underwritten by American taxpayers?
I don't think the issue that we're seeing right now is with the mega carriers. I don't think it's the big ones. Have we had issues with that in the past? Yes. What we're seeing right now, it's not the mega carriers. It is the sketchy schools. There are refugee programs. They're all over the internet, flyers stating that they will help you pay for your CDL school. They will help you get small business loans to pay for the truck, to get your authority, and to get out on the road. There are 2 million trucking companies in the United States. When I go through that data set, the names of the trucking companies, I'll post some more later on X today. The names in there, again, you have to infer. We don't know the facts, whether they're legal or not. It is absurd.
How do you recommend? Because you know this, I'm gonna go to Shannon in a second because this is about action. Our show is followed by activists, and when the guys first came on the first time, people's heads blew up. They were on the phones. They were sending text messages. What is your recommendation of how we sort this mess out? I mean, it's got to stop. We've killed 2 million American citizens. We've jeopardized too many families. We're taking also the backbone of the country, the trucking industry, particularly generational truckers that pass it down generation to generation. We're destroying their livelihood. So what is your recommendation? If we want to have a thing that we want to have zero commercial driver's license issued to foreign nationals, right, in this country, how do we stop it? Danielle?
For me, we ban non-domiciled CDLs. We restrict foreign CDLs.
Well,
go ahead, Steve.
No, go ahead. How do we do it?
We automatically ban all non-domiciled CDLs that have been issued. We revoke them. We restrict the foreign CDLs from operating inside the United States. And I argue that we take away any understanding of immunity that is currently being provided to brokers and shippers for these accidents. And so right now there's a preemption problem where brokers and shippers feel like they're not responsible for the accidents that have taken countless Americans' lives when they have decided to use these trucking companies who are employing non-citizen truck drivers on these suspect credentials. And so we need to pull that back. And if we will hold the profiteers accountable, we will quickly get to the bottom of this.
Well, Hank, when you say non-domicile, explain that so I understand it. What do you mean by that?
So the license that is being issued to everyone that's not a citizen of the United States who is here on an employment authorization document or some kind of a temporary work visa or visitor visa is typically a non-domiciled CDL. And so it's a specific group of drivers that we're talking about.
And what do you mean by immunity? What do you talk about immunity? Who's got immunity? You're saying immunity from these accidents? Who gives these? What's immunity in this situation? Who grants it?
So the states have immunity from these accidents for being sued because of anything that they've done wrong when it comes to issuing the licenses. Or I can give you an example how the state has an immunity in a crash that we had about 3 or 4 years ago when they left a truck in the middle of the road without any warning signs or any flashers on it. And our truck hit it. We were unable to sue the state because the state had immunity. And so a lot of times in these, like in the situation with California, the injured individuals in the accident should be able to sue the state of California if they illegally issued this commercial driver's license. And so we want the states to be held responsible, but also the brokers. So if there's an accident by a brokerage company and they give a load to a motor carrier, they claim immunity, they claim preemption. There's actually a Supreme Court ruling that's coming up soon where brokers are trying to say that they're not responsible for an accident when they hire a motor carrier and that motor carrier uses an illegal alien truck driver. And so this Supreme Court decision is going to have a huge influence on the trucking industry.
Yeah, it's on the docket for this upcoming court. Gord, where do people go? Because the audience now wants to get on top of this thing. It's not simply that we want to freeze on anymore. We got to roll them all back, right? So we'll look to you guys for the appropriate guidance at the appropriate time. But Gord, where do people go for your social media and to find out more about what you're working on?
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, Steve. You can find me on Twitter at Gord McGill, GORDMAGILL. I write often at the Autonomous Truckers Substack.com, where we discuss these issues. And I'm writing a book right now on this very topic, on the war on North American truck drivers. It's called End of the Road, Inside the War on Truckers. It's publishing in March of 2026, and it's going to cover all of this and have a full slate of recommendations for our policymakers to clean this up.
Amen, brother. Love it. Shannon, where do people go to get Truckers United?
On all the social media, our tag is the same. It's at ATU Truckers. So please follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, TikTok. We're on all the social medias. And then you can go to our website at www.americantruckers.com and register for free.
Awesome. It's unbelievable. Danielle, where do people go? I think you got a podcast, your writings, your social media. Where do people go?
Yeah, all of my social media handles, I'm most active on X. It's at maybe Danielle with 3 E's at the end.
Okay, perfect. We'll get them all up. I want to thank you guys, and we're now committed to this fight like before. We got to stop this. Safety of the American citizen, plus it's economic warfare against truckers, and it's got to stop. Thank you all for coming into the war room this morning. We're going to get on top of this one. I want to thank Secretary Marco Rubio. I want to thank Sean Duffy, doing a great job over as Secretary of Transportation for getting on this. Jack Posobiec is next up. We're going to take a short commercial break. Posobiec's got a lot to say. Remember, Jack Posobiec, a former naval intelligence officer. This is going to be far deeper and uglier, I believe, than just the book, The Room Where It Happened. That's what initiated this investigation of John Bolton. But I think John Bolton's dirty on many levels. Also, the geopolitical reality of what's happened in the last 96 hours. The European elites tried to dump on President Trump to solve all of their problems, right? As they always try to do with the United States of America. But finally, we've had a leader in the United States says, I don't know. Don't know if that's going to happen. Short commercial break. Jack Posobiec on the other side.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing covered when you got to plan through CarShield. Next, you'll probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2, plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3, when you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your covered repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-653-8201. 800-653-8201.
Tired of the hassle and high costs of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, the great Jack Posobiec. So Posobiec, there was a dawn raid on John Bolton's house, but there's much more deeper going on. Let's start with the Ukraine situation. This was a Jack Posobiec called shot. You actually were in Alaska with the president for the Putin meeting. You were also, you took the flight back. You saw the president work the phones the entire time. You were there all day for the leaders of Europe coming over. You were also, I believe, the only person in all media that brought up the fact that the Poles, who I would argue probably our greatest ally over there now, it said, hey, thanks, but no thanks, Mr. President, because I know the Europeans are going to try to roll you. What's the current status of the Ukraine situation, sir?
Well, Steve, and we saw this, really being brought up, and I raised this to the attention of the White House press briefing a couple of days ago, where I said, this sounds great. Obviously, the president's done the yeoman's work here, putting his shoulder to the wheel in terms of being able to get this peace deal together. But at the same time, there are real questions about what are the elaborations on these security guarantees. What does Article 5 mean? And most importantly, will the Russians agree to any of this? And what we're seeing now, the Wall Street Journal's got a piece out right now. Wall Street Journal, of course, no fan of President Trump's foreign policy. And their piece is talking about how this is really starting to stall out because they can't get to an agreement between the Russians and the Europeans. And in fact, Steve, Professor John Mearsheimer, the guy who's been calling all of this since all the way back, go back to the Budapest Memorandum of 1994, when he was saying none of this is going to work, said the exact same thing, that the issue here is that Trump and Putin can get to an agreement, but you'll never get Zelensky and the rest of the Europeans to go along with it.
But Jack, we have a $58 billion bailout of the Europeans going through the Senate now. And folks, it's going to get dropped on your head in the first couple of weeks of September, $58 billion. If we don't give them any money and we don't give them any arms, they have no leverage. The Europeans are not prepared to step up here. We know this. So when they say Zelensky's not going to agree, the Europeans not going to agree, What are we talking about? I mean, we're underwriting this. If we sit there and go, guys, the American taxpayers are not going to do us. We're not going to be part of this slaughter anymore. You saw the hack that came out. It's 1.7 million dead and wounded. On the Ukrainian side, this Posobiec, you've been near him so much in the last week. This is why President Trump always says, he says, look, I can't tell you everything from the intelligence sources, but the numbers are much worse than you think. And now we know in that hack, it's 625,000 Ukrainians in this year. If you want to stop the madness, it's just the United States that says, if you just tell the neocons, we're not going to do this anymore, right? And then Zelensky and the Europeans are going to have to figure out how to deal with it. Am I crazy on this?
I mean, Steve, that's really what it's coming down to. And, of course, this is why Karl Rove and so many others are trying to frame this as saying, well, hold on, we don't want this to be Trump's Afghanistan. We don't want to see this. So they're trying to frame it as though Russia is poised to take Kiev the same way that the Taliban took Kabul. And they're trying to paint that picture for the president of the images, of course, the horrifying, gory images coming out of Kabul, of Afghanistan, of the plane, and, of course, Abbey Gate, the bombing, everything that took place there. So conjuring that up to try to instill this idea that that's what's going to happen to Trump. Meanwhile, it's really been Trump, on the other hand. He's the one saying, well, hold on. You're talking about these areas. And of course, the Russians have been fighting in these areas 3.5 years now. They're not any closer to Kiev than they were, weeks and days ago. Now, that being said, the issue on the Ukrainian side, it's not territory, it's manpower. And it's been manpower the whole time. That's why it's been such a political football as to the exact number of the casualties on either side. The ratio, does it favor the Ukrainians? Does it favor the Russians? Seems as though whatever the exact number is, and we've obviously seen a lot of different numbers being thrown around, it seems at this point it is favoring the Russians, that they are the ones who are clearly on the military advantage right now. And that's why the Russians are saying, give us those last 4 of what they're called the fortress cities in Donetsk province, because between those cities and the Dnieper River, it's nothing but farmland. It's just flat farmland all the way across. They can shoot directly across the Dnieper River. Now you're down to Nikolaev. Odessa's right there. And if you go up the river, boom, you're in Kiev. So the question here is it's really not, can we get the Ukrainians to the table? It's, can we get the Russians? Because there's people to Putin's right that are saying, what are you meeting for? Why are you holding this meeting? Why sit down at all? Why not go in all the way? That's the real key here. And so President Trump has to look at this square on, and I think he did, because we saw that post from him, I guess it was yesterday, when he said flat out, and he talked about, he didn't attack Russia, he didn't do this or this. He said it's unwinnable. That was his point. He was saying that this is unwinnable for the Ukrainians on the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Russians, I think they know a little something about when they're winning a war. They're showing that they're more than willing to prosecute this to its full military extent.
If we're going to be an accessory now, because this is slaughter, we have to have, and the Europeans didn't step up for anything. They ran back there, and no security guarantee, no line of contact, no troops, no money. Germans say we might be able to do something. Germans are whining because they put a brigade of troops, I think, in Lithuania, and they're sitting there going, we're tapped out. This is a joke, and it's a sick joke, and 1.7 million dead or wounded Ukrainians, and 625,000 this year, and it hasn't been really refuted by anybody. Jack, I want to pivot. In this, the biggest cheerleader for Zelensky and Netanyahu, besides Tel Aviv, Mark Levin, is John Bolton, the neocon of neocons. How big a deal is this raid? I know it's about the original book, but I think they're going to find it. They're taking a lot of boxes in there, Posobiec. This is going to have a major implication because he's the biggest cheerleader for neocon policies. And you got to remember, when we get back from Labor Day, it's not just the Gaza occupation or the IDF going into Gaza City, which they're ramping up right now. Netanyahu's going to be pitching Persian regime change. We're going to go back to that. Just you heard it here first. We're going to go back to that. How is this going to play with John Bolton? Their mouthpiece is looking at some serious jail time, sir.
Well, Steve, I actually have an exclusive report on all of this that I haven't even posted on Twitter yet. Came in just as I was coming into get ready for the hit here. So this is what I'm getting. This is going to be a War Room exclusive here from Human Events. That CIA Director John Ratcliffe provided Kash Patel access to U.S. intelligence that served as the basis for the warrant to raid Bolton's house. So this is basically what we were thinking about, and this is an individual familiar is telling me this. They're saying Bolton disingenuously attacked Trump for mishandling classified information. It will go down as one of the most audacious and ironic acts of malice in political history. Bolton should have been throwing stones in his now raided glass house. And this was something, I think, Steve, you and I talked about it when John Bolton's book came out, that he was known for these yellow legal pads, that he would take notes during every single meeting that was going on when he was the national security advisor. And there were a lot of questions as to what exactly was the handling of those notes. Did those yellow legal pads make it home to him? And because there was a lot of information that was in there that also ended up in his book, which was publicized, and by the way, part of which was leaked to the New York Times, even went back to my own reporting on this, part of which was leaked to the New York Times before it even came out in publication. So there's a lot of questions about who leaked it in the first place. Was it leaked during that period where they're supposed to be scrubbing it for classified? And these yellow legal pads, what information did he take? Because classified information, here's a great example. So even if you don't have documents, if the information that you have written down on your documents is classified and you take your document home, that's still taking classified information out of a classified area. That's still taking it out of the SCIF. So if you're in a position like the Oval, if you're in the Situation Room, et cetera, you can't just take that home. And in fact, the information in your mind is still also classified. That's why you have a lifetime NDA. That's just the nature of classified information. So I know there's a lot of people who focus on documents. I'm certain I'm sure there's going to be documents that we're talking about here. But this is very clear. It's information that is classified, not a piece of paper.
Give me that from the CIA Director Ratcliffe again. Can you do that one more time? It's pretty amazing.
John Ratcliffe provided FBI Director Kash Patel access to U.S. intelligence that served as the basis for the warrant to raid Bolton's house. So these are documents, some kind of information that the CIA held, that they were probably using that as a check to go into this warrant to say, these are the things you're looking for, that they provided. This is going towards the probable cause for the raid that took place this morning. I believe it's still ongoing.
It's going. They're taking box after box in there to set it up. So this is pretty extraordinary. He's known as being Zelensky adjacent and very close and friendly with the Zelensky regime in Kiev. He's also known to be a big cheerleader and close to Netanyahu, and what I call at least Mossad adjacent, right? He's got a reputation, all this. This is why the first time, remember, President Trump stopped the missile attack that he concocted in the first term because it didn't have proportionality. And President Trump stopped it at the last second. Another Bolton exercise that would have gotten us into a shooting war with the Persians back then. What kind of implications is this going to have today when we're looking at the kinetic part? The kinetic part of the Third World War in Ukraine is not going to stop anytime soon. The kinetic part of the Third World War in Gaza is only going to get ramped up here in the next week or two. And Netanyahu is going to come back and push for regime change against the Persians. What kind of impact is that going to have if John Bolton's got a muzzle on him, sir?
Well, Steve, I think it goes beyond John Bolton. And for John, Mr. Mustache, he is a neocon's neocon. And he's very tied in with the neoconservative war hawk wing of the Republican Party, the neoconservative war hawk wing of the intelligence community. And so all of the names, and you can see them out on Twitter right now. There's a picture of George Conway, I guess, standing in the driveway with his phone up trying to film some of this that's going quite viral. Charlie Spearing tweeted it out. And so it's not just about what John Bolton stands for. It's also about who did he share this information with? Who knew that John Bolton was taking this? Was this potentially involved in the Russiagate conspiracy? At some point, did they bring him together? And does it all relate to the Russia hoax, which we know there's already an impaneled grand jury? Certainly some of the investigative probative value of the documents that are being taken right now are going to be checked against all of that. So really, we may come to find that John Bolton played a larger part with all of these people because, remember, what have we been told that they're looking at? And that is an ongoing conspiracy against President Trump. So if John Bolton played a part in that, you got to wonder if all of those other neocons that we've just been talking about are also wondering, what did John tell us, and are they looking at us next?
By the way, George Conway ought to be arrested right now. If he's in the parking lot trying to be a wise guy outside of the house, they ought to be arrested right now. Jack, what's going to be on, where do people go for your social media? And this afternoon's Human Events Daily, what do we got?
Well, Steve, we're going to be running this to ground. Any more information that I can find out about the Bolton raid and, of course, these investigations, we're going to be digging into that right now. I was actually I was out and about in D.C. last night, and I saw some top officials, and I said, Kash Patel isn't around tonight. I wonder where Kash is going to be. And now I find out what he was up to this morning. So we're going to be digging into all of that today on Human Events Daily.
Amazing. We'll be watching. Jack Posobiec, 2 o'clock here, right on Real America's Voice. Jack Posobiec, thank you for enlightening us. Appreciate it, sir.
God bless.
Take your phone out. Bannon. Text Bannon, BANNON at 989898. Get the ultimate guide for investing in gold and precious metals from Birch Gold. Do it today in the age of Trump. We're going to talk about Jerome Powell when we return.
Hello, friends. Pat Boone here with a message from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
When the kids turn unholy, Harrelson's Own keeps my patience divine.
When work flies out of control, Harrelson's Own keeps me cool as a cucumber.
The device madness never ends, but Harrelson's Own keeps me zen.
Life can be chaotic, but Harrelson's Own CBD helps keep you calm through any storm. Harrelson's Own consistently delivers you full mind and body homeostasis. It's an organic, full-spectrum CBD in a refreshing oral spray. Our nano-emulsified technology makes it completely water-soluble, so your body absorbs it immediately. You'll start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes. It just makes everything feel better.
And it helps me just take the edge off. It helps me relax. It helps me be there with my kids.
I swear I'm like a mental ninja. Like nothing can throw me off balance.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next. I'm like crushing it all day long.
Well, some people take it for a release from stress. Some take it to get rid of pain. Others just take it for general well-being. For me, Brett Harrelson, it just makes everything about my day a little better.
Give your life a boost.
It's just the best you've ever felt in your natural state.
My happiness in a bottle is the best.
So to sum it all up, you're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, and like the way it tastes. Pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to HO.com to order Harrelson's Own now. Yep, it's that easy. Just our initials, HO.com.
In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside and risks to employment to the downside, a challenging situation. When our goals are in tension like this, our framework calls for us to balance both sides of our dual mandate. Our policy rate is now 100 basis points closer to neutral than it was a year ago. And the stability of the unemployment rate and other labor market measures allows us to proceed carefully as we consider changes to our policy stance. Nonetheless, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance. Monetary policy is not on a preset course. FOMC members will make these decisions based solely on their assessment of the data and its implications for the economic outlook and the balance of risks. We will never deviate from that approach.
Go to Birchgold. You need to learn this stuff. So go to birchgold.com/Bannon. End of the Dollar Empire. It's 7 free installments coming out with 8th and 9th. They're also coming out with a print edition. We're also going to be doing special events. There's a lot going on after everybody's back for Labor Day. Make sure you go check it out today. I think what Pal's saying there, it's central bank talk, that they're reviewing their model and they're leaning towards, I would say, a rate cut in September, 25 basis points. So we'll have more on that. Fishback, who we've had on the show, I think is actually in a screaming match in Jackson Hole about arresting or firing Governor Cook, who's now been accused of, and they've had Pulte, I think, come on this morning, been accused of multiple mortgage fraud. I think Fishback actually might have disrupted things. I think we got a clip for that. If not, we're going to try to get him on the 5 o'clock show so you can talk about it in person. But make sure you go to Birch Gold. Also want to give a hat tip to the people at Patriot Mobile, 972-PATRIOT. Go make this shift today. If it was not for Glenn Story and the team and their PAC to back up Brian Harrison and the rest of you patriots and the grassroots that really put the bayonet to the back for a soft nudge to Abbott in this crowd, to make sure that we got the 5 seats. And the 5 seats are just the start. We need a Texas 10. We need another 5. We're all over the redistricting wars. More about that this afternoon and tomorrow on our Saturday morning show. Now I want to bring in Jake Seawolf from My Patriot Supply, my favorite company. Jake, you're an expert in this area, but I keep telling people, in the old days, it was like these preparedness people, the preppers were looked at as wingnuts. Now they're looked at as these safe pair of hands, cautionary folks that see everything going on and want to make sure they're not caught up in any type of crisis. What do you got for us, sir?
Well, Steve, to be honest with you, there is a lot of stuff going on. And even if you agree with what they're doing in the White House, you do got to remember that there are still a lot of failure with natural disasters going on every time. There's floods, there's fires, there's tornadoes. People are getting stuck places. I mean, when an earthquake happens, separates a road. So the funny thing about all of it is, like, even if a war is about to kick off or not, like, the people who are prepared at home, they're not as worried, because when the grocery stores are running dry, we have food here. The 3-month kit here behind me, mostly just for you guys to check it out. But honestly, it is important. I would say at least you need about 10 days to be ready for anything. And I've traveled around the world. There's just a lot that can go wrong.
Jake, one of the things about people when they first get into this is that they don't know what all the things are. They don't know the packages. They don't know that. How does My Patriot Supply, like, for instance, if you go online or if you call, is there somebody there that can walk people through? Because a lot of people, I get this all the time. We want to be prepared. I want to get ahead of this. I see what's happening in hurricanes. I see what's happening on the power situation in the country, and particularly as these data centers come online. People understand now they have to take responsibility for themselves because nobody else is there to help them. They've got to help themselves and their families, at least to get through some period of time if there's a crisis. But how do you at My Patriot Supply help folks to start walking them through that, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing is I work directly we have customer service and sales reps. They are in-house, Salt Lake City. Some people do remote, but you are calling in an American, people who speak English. So when you do call in, you're not only supporting other Americans and their families, but we have all the information they need, and we can tailor the different plans depending on your family. So if you're a single person, just live in their house, your preparedness is going to look a little different than someone with a huge family. And then you've got to look at your geographical locations, is there water near you? Do you need to stock up on your own water and filtration? What's your power situation look like? Electricity is super important. You don't want a couple $100 of food going bad in your refrigerator. So at least something to power your refrigerator, keep lights on. So, and our people they answer their phone 24/7. You can call in, get help. They will tailor exactly what you need. And I recommend to do that ASAP. Like our end of summer sale is actually ending tonight. So if you want to jump on that now. If you guys need power, we actually have a great deal going on with the Grid Doctor 3300. It's our big solar generator unit. You get a free expansion pack with it, even if you use a payment plan to get it purchased. So we really do try our best to make sure every American is ready.
To get to the end of the summer sale, I want people to do it right now. Where do they go? Where do they go today? Right after the show, where do they go?
Yeah, go to mypatriotsupply.com, and it should be right on the top of the page, or scroll down, just call in, and they will be more than happy to help you get ordered as well. So it's not hard. You can also
Jake,
talk to a sales rep.
Yeah, what you got to do is talk to a customer service or sales rep. No doubt. No. What we want is to get to a sales rep or a customer service. That's what the War and Posse is best, when somebody walks them through it about all the opportunities. MyPatriotSupply.com. Tell them the War Room sent you. Jake, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you. Jake C. with My Patriot Supply. The end of the summer sale. Let's get on it today. Remember, the Christmas in July was fantastic. Now they've stretched another month for the end of the summer sale. Let's get on it today. My Patriot Supply, best company in space. Very honored to have them as a sponsor. Do we have a short clip? President Trump's got something to say about the Federal Reserve. Let's hear it.
Governor overheard
I'll fire her if she doesn't resign. Yeah, what she did was bad. So I'll fire her if she doesn't resign.
He just said right there, I'm going to fire Cook. I think we just made some news there. President Trump this morning, going over to the D.C. Museum or the gift shop right across the street. Extraordinary. Maximalist strategy, folks. We're winning. Now it's time to press the bet. Let's do it. Back here at 5 o'clock in tomorrow morning. Charlie Kirk follows us. Post after that, Steve Gruber, the great Eric Bowling. Then you're back in the Worm at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to be on fire. See you later today when you'll be back in the War Room.
Hey there. Hey. Hey there, how are you? I'm with Disabled American Veterans. I was wondering if you had a quick minute to thank America's veterans for their service and sacrifices.
Of course, why not?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Sure.
All right, hey, well, come on in here. I'm just gonna hit record on this.
I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't even think of the words to say of how grateful I am.
I just want to tell you guys how much you appreciate it.
But most importantly, I want to thank you for your courage and bravery.
Wow. Just thank you.
Someone here who'd like to say something to you.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome.
Someone has something they want to say to you.
Goodness.
How's it going?
So I just want to let you know how much you appreciate it. How much you appreciate it.
I just feel honored for everything you've done.
Thank you for myself. Thank you for everybody.
I get to live every day, in peace because of you.
A lot of people thank us, but we want to take the time to thank you, honestly, for giving back. And when you give to DAV, you are supporting veterans like Dave, myself. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can say thank you to our nation's heroes by calling the number on your screen right now and giving your monthly support of only $19.
Say thank you by going to helpdav.org right now and give just $19 a month. When you do, we'll send you this DAV blanket as a thank you and a reminder that you support those who served.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right now. Your support says thank you to our nation's disabled American veterans.
Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
You people are winners, and I just think it's such an honor to be with you. And we're going to make Washington, D.C. great again. We're making our country great again. The country is very close to being great. When they say it's the hottest country in the world, they mean it. And this Capitol is right now, after 4 days, 5 days, it's at a level that you haven't seen in a long time, and it's all because of you. So I want to thank you all very much. It's an honor to be with you, and we'll always be with you. We're going to be with you for as long as I'm around.
We don't feel safe. You might be working closely with Mayor Adams. You may have spent a whole lot of money, but I walk into my pharmacy and everything's on lockdown because of shoplifters. I'm not going in the subway. People don't feel safe in this town. So you may have done these things, but right now we're not feeling good. We're worried we could be San Francisco.
I get messages that say the only good Muslim is a dead Muslim. I get threats on my life. On the people that I love. And I try not to talk about it. Because the function of racism, as Toni Morrison said, is distraction. And it takes a toll.
ICE gets them so they can then send them out. That's all ICE is supposed to do. Look at them as a fancy Uber driver for immigrants. That's all they're supposed to do. And now they're running into places and doing raids, and they're falling all over each other, injuring each other. Like, we are a joke, but it is a bad nightmare of a joke. And so I don't think that this president has any limits that he won't go to.
We've reached a point in this country where we no longer want to engage in conversation. They were even calling him Hitler. That's an insult.
I was only his vice president.
That was an insult. That was an insult to the millions of Jews and others who died. We know what Hitler did. I said we have to bring down this rhetoric. We have to start engaging in conversation. I am not going to be warring with this president. I'm going to be working with this president. The American people communicated. Not only did he win the electoral vote, he won the popular vote. They sent clear messages: affordability, public safety, securing our border. And I'm going to move in a direction to bring the resources home to this city. This is not about me, Jonathan. This is about we, the people of New York City. And I'm looking forward to getting some real things done.
The FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X, "No one is above the law. FBI agents on mission." And Attorney General Pam Bondi adding this: "America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued always." And Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino adding, "Public corruption will not be tolerated."
Fox Digital reporting that chairman and ranking member of the House Intel Committee were briefed on this before it happened. We're also told that CIA Director John Ratcliffe gave FBI Director Kash Patel some limited access to limited intelligence, Aisha, and we're told the alleged classified documents may be related to Bolton's book. I will point out the FBI and the analysts after we'll discuss this cannot just go into a home because they want to go into a home. A magistrate judge in Washington, because Bolton's office is in Washington and in Maryland, would have had to sign off on this, and there would be a list specifically of what they're looking for. But we're going to continue to watch this, but still no sign of anything from Ambassador Bolton.
California, Republicans vote 39%. They have 17% of the vote. They'll now be down to 6%. Democrats have 83%. You're very upset about Texas. You know what Republicans will have in Texas after they have 56% of the vote? About 72%. Do you know what the Democrats have in Illinois? They have more than 83% of the lines, and the Republicans are for. Yeah, but you haven't done one show on that.
If it is true that he's a grand Ayatollah, that mystical power extends and he can anoint his prophets, and he can remain in power even if he doesn't hold the title of president. And if that's the case, then there's no relief from this that is achieved by election, especially if we are truly in an authoritarian regime where elections are not real.
The Charlie Kirk Show.
Selling your home shouldn't be expensive or stressful. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
Ideal Agent connected me with the best realtor in my market.
and I saved $12,500 as a result of it, and I got more than my asking price.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, happy Friday. Radio stations across the country. We are here in beautiful Dallas, Texas. We had quite a day yesterday. We started in Chicago. We did a great speech to over 2,000 people in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and now we are giving another speech here tonight in Dallas, Texas. We have a action-oriented show today. We have our Ask Me Anything episode coming up later this hour, where if you want to be able to ask us questions live on air, become a member, members.charliekirk.com. In just a couple minutes, by the way, we have Eric Adams, Mayor Eric Adams from New York City. So as we prepare for that segment, because we don't want to see Mom Donnie win, I want you to email me, freedom@charliekirk.com, what questions I should ask the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, as he joins us in the effort to try to combine forces and prevent Mom Donnie from becoming the mayor of New York City, which unfortunately is looking more and more like he's going to win. I want to start today, though, with some breaking news. I mean, there's a lot happening. The FBI is raiding John Bolton's home. President Trump did a whole press conference yesterday. The National Guard, it's gone an entire week without a single murder in Washington, D.C. And I want to just comment on that, and then we really need to focus on this visa question. But one of my new favorite statistics is about who's actually doing the killing and who's actually getting killed in Washington, D.C. So all of the critics of Donald Trump say that this is racist. Do you notice that's the only criticism that they have? And it bears no significance whatsoever. Well, you know, he's racist for doing this. Do you know that during the 7 years from 2018 to 2024, there were well over 1,252 murders. 1,252 murders in Washington, D.C. between 2018 and 2024. Only 11 of the victims were not black. Only 11. So when they criticize President Donald Trump of being a racist, when they criticize President Trump and all of us as being a racist, we're actually the ones that are actually trying to save black lives from killing each other. And of course, it's black on black crime. Trust me, it's not the white supremacists, and that includes non-Hispanic whites. So it's that 11 were white and 1,241 were black. Let me repeat that. 11 in 6 years were white, 1,241 were black. So when they criticize President Trump for this National Guard takeover, someone needs to say, wait a second, over a 6-year period of people being killed, 1,241 blacks were killed, and only 11 whites were killed. Of course, the blacks are largely doing the black on black crime. That's not even what we're talking about. We're just talking about the carnage is predominantly blacks that are dying. And President Trump is preventing blacks from dying. But that still is met with widespread condemnation. And Wes Moore, who's such a fraud, by the way. Wes Moore, who's such a fraud from Maryland. Do you know a black D.C. resident was 112 times more likely to be murdered in Washington, D.C.? President Donald Trump should be given medals of freedom. President Trump should be invited to speak at black churches this Sunday and given a hero's welcome. President Donald Trump should be having black MAGA rallies. President Donald Trump should be warmly received from the black community in D.C. They should be making statues of Donald Trump. President Trump has done a lot more for preventing black death in Washington, D.C. Less fear of carjacking, less fear of arson. And yet they then use the racist label. That shows that when they call you a racist, it means absolutely nothing. You should just shrug your shoulders and roll your eyes. Okay, what else you got? Oh, racist, really? Donald Trump's a racist for rolling in the tanks and preventing blacks from dying? That's really bizarre. President Trump did a little pep rally with all of the National Guard troops yesterday. I do want to focus on that, and there was just some images there. But again, the Democrats, they have no data whatsoever to support their position. None. In other news, and I want to really narrow in on this, President Trump announced yesterday, and his administration, they're reviewing all 55 million foreigners with visas for any violations. First of all, the number kind of took my breath away. We have 55 million people that are not U.S. citizens in this country. 55 million. How foreign is America? If you live in an American city, you probably find yourself thinking that really often. If you get in an Uber, the driver's almost always an immigrant. If you visit a farm, the workers are migrants. Stop at a university, about 25 to 30% of almost all universities are foreigners. It's happening all over, and we got a big reminder of that yesterday. The Trump administration announced that along with all of its efforts to round up and send back as many as 20 million illegal immigrants, it's going to look at the people supposedly legal in America. The administration says that anybody with a visa to be in the United States, whether it be an H-1B worker or a tourist or as a student, is subject to continuous vetting. If you become a Marxist and all of a sudden you say you hate our country and burn our flag, you should have your visa removed and returned back to your country. If all of a sudden you become an anti-American visitor, we have every right. We are no longer going to be suckers. The press freaked out that the administration would even be looking. Do you understand how screwed up the entire framing of our politics is? That the press gets mad that President Trump wants to know who's in the interior of our country? If you're a Somalian that came here and all of a sudden you are still an Islamist and you support Omar Fattah and Ilhan Omar and you're not assimilating to the United States of America, we have a serious problem. Until then, it turns out we've barely even looked at those people and whether they belong here. In a bombshell announcement yesterday, the State Department said that it's going to be checking for things like visa staying past the authorized time frame outlined in a visa, criminal activity, threats to a public safety, providing support for terrorism, and directly supporting in terrorism. Somalis, by the way, are notorious for running scam rings. And you know what? That sounds like something that we should have always been doing. But what does it say that we weren't always doing that? What it says that our leaders hated us. Our leaders see the world as 8 billion future Americans who have the right to come here whenever they want, the right to leech off our nation, the right to rob or plunder or loot America. The administration is finally saying no more. One of the best signs the other day was when Marco Rubio, who, again, Cuban, his family immigrated as refugees and assimilated, Marco Rubio announced that they were suspending all work visas for people coming here as truck drivers. By the way, if you are a law-abiding legal immigrant who is assimilated, this should be great news for you because it doesn't cheapen or dilute the process of you coming here. But the media, they are losing their mind over this. They're becoming unglued. The masks are off because they say, how dare President Trump knows who's in the nation? How dare President Trump says that the 55 million visa holders. Well, you get Zohran Mamdani because we never asked the questions of who do we allow into our country. You get Omar Fattah, you get Ilhan Omar, you got Rashida Tlaib. How dare we check on the visa granting process? Not only do we have any right, we have an obligation to find out who's actually coming into our country. What are they doing? Are they improving it? Are you on government welfare? Do you believe American values? Or are you just an Islamist Marxist? And we should have no hesitation that if an Islamist Marxist is here in the United States of America, we should politely say, go home. You can go do your Islamist Marxism stuff in Mogadishu. Your visa is revoked. Now, some people say, well, Charlie, what about freedom of speech? You're not a U.S. citizen. You're not. You're a visitor. You're here on a provisional basis. You are here in a time of trial. We're kind of figuring it out. Are you making the country better? Are you making it stronger? Are you being able to make us a better republic? No, instead, what we have done is we have been led to believe that no matter what, all of the Muslims that come into the United States, they must, or all the immigrants and whatever, they all must just be amazing. It's just a review. And a review shouldn't worry you. By the way, how many of them are criminals? And all the criminals should be sent back home. What we're getting at is a restoration of the American citizen, and the American person should always be put first. America first is not just a bumper sticker or a slogan. We're making it a reality. ReliefFactor.com, 100% drug-free Relief Factor, knee pain, back pain, joint pain, elbow pain. Check it out right now at ReliefFactor.com. Relief Factor is amazing. You guys should take it, and you guys will get out of pain. With Relief Factor, you can break up with pain, just like Anthony did as he writes in. Quote, I was dealing with debilitating pain and fatigue. I've been taking Relief Factor for about 2 months, and now I'm back to running my business, fishing, gardening, doing the things that really matter to me. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free, and it targets the inflammation that causes pain so you can move better, feel better, and actually enjoy life again. Try the 3-week quick start today for just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That is 1-800-4RELIEF. So check it out right now at ReliefFactor.com. That is ReliefFactor.com. As just an immediate reminder, you got to learn English. If you do not know English, you've not assimilated, and you should be potentially subject for deportation. We'll be right back.
No matter what you drive, there's only one guarantee. It's gonna break down.
I had a sensor light up on my dashboard.
There was a popping noise.
The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
Your next breakdown could be anytime, anywhere, whether you've got the money to fix it or not.
It was a thermostat, $2,600.
Seat sensor, $1,400.
But if you've got endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again, no matter how much it cost them to cover it.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
For Endurance to pay over $7,000 to have my vehicle repaired is phenomenal.
It was like almost a $6,000 job. If I didn't have Endurance, I would have had to pay for that or just trash the whole car and start again.
If your car's out of warranty, a transmission can easily cost you $4,000.
And an engine? Over $7,000, if you're lucky.
With Endurance, those parts are covered, plus hundreds more.
The bad camera unit, $800 to repair a bad wheel bearing, over $1,000. A new steering rack, close to $3,000. Endurance covered it fully.
From engines to water pumps, electronics to key fobs, Endurance has you covered.
Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
It's a totally seamless process going to any certified mechanic. They submit the claim directly to Endurance. They get paid, and I'm out the door.
You trust us to do the work, and we trust Endurance to pay us direct.
And the best part, your rate stays locked in no matter how many claims you file.
After I made my first claim to Endurance, I expected my rate to change, and it never did. Like, I have no complaints.
Endurance has been trusted by millions of Americans for nearly 2 decades.
I've had 2 claims for over $4,600. Less than 1 year after signing up, Endurance saved me over $7,000.
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So if your ride breaks down, Endurance has your back. They'll jump your battery, tow, deliver gas, change a flat, unlock your car, and more.
Call now and we'll upgrade you to a full year of Elite benefits free, a $2,000 value.
Endurance just gives me that peace of mind, so I do know that every time I'm on the road, I'm covered.
So, who's gonna pay for your next breakdown? You?
Or Endurance.
Endurance saves drivers thousands, and now you can save even more. Right now, you can get $300 off any plan, plus a year of Elite benefits, a $2,000 value free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now.
Remember, out of warranty doesn't mean out of options. Call Endurance and see how much you can save.
Call 1-833-496-5095 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5095.
Speaking the truth, no one else has the guts to say. The Charlie Kirk Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. I want you guys to check out YREFI. That is YREFY.com. YREFI.com is amazing. I think you guys can really check it out. YREFI is awesome if you are in private student loan debt. YREFI refinances distressed or defaulted private student loans that others won't touch. They provide you with a custom loan payment based on your ability to pay. YREFI is not a debt settlement company, and they work with each borrower individually, tailoring each loan to each borrower's specific situation. You will not be calling a faceless call center. YREFI can reduce your monthly payment and guarantees interest rates under 6%, ensuring affordability and financial relief. Go to YREFI.com. Private student loan debt. So many Americans feel stuck and helpless. Go to YREFI.com, 888-YREFI34, or log on to YREFI.com. That is YREFY.com. Do you have a co-borrower? YREFI can get them released from the loan, and you can give mom or dad a break. Go to YREFI.com. That is YREFY.com. YREFI.com. Subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. Speaking English. Stay right there. Welcome back, everybody. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Let's just see people say, well, Charlie, what does assimilation look like? Very simple. I think you can come up with some objective measurements. For example, not flying the hammer and sickle flag, not flying the crescent flag, assimilating to core American values, but just one that is so easy and so simple. All 55 million visa holders should have to take an English test. Very simple. Take a second or third grade English test. Do you know what's a little disappointing is how often I meet people in this country that don't speak any English? And I really try to have some Christ-like compassion. I do, but then I ask the interpreter, how long have they been here? Oh, they've been here for 30 years, and they don't speak any English? Yeah, I'm sorry, that's an immediate symbol you have not assimilated the United States of America. And I know so many Cubans and Venezuelans and Colombians and Nicaraguans and Poles and Hungarians and Japanese and Vietnamese that did learn English, actually. They came here and they learned the language out of an immediate sign of respect. And it's not even good for them not to learn English. It holds you back if you're here. It actually holds the entire nation back, and it creates this balkanization. A common language is the glue that holds a country together. Without it, you have no unity. You just have tribes. We're already fractured enough as a country. Adding dozens of competing languages only deepens division. People always say, well, we're a successful multicultural experiment. For now, multiculturalism is a very, very difficult project. In fact, we should have uniculturalism. One culture, Americanism. We have one culture that you assimilate towards. One. We should not put up with all these different pockets of culture. You assimilate towards the American culture. Of course, you can have history and traditions. And we play Scottish bagpipes, for goodness sake. The point, though, is that you are Americans. We need to get rid of this hyphenated American. Well, I'm a Vietnamese American, and I'm an Indian American, and I'm a Nepalese American, and I'm a... No. You're an American. And the most important component of that is learning English. Let's just take one example. If you get pulled over by a police officer and you don't speak English, how do you talk to that police officer? The police officer says, oh, you have a taillight out. No comprende, or whatever. It could be any language. It doesn't have to be Spanish. It's an actual technical question I have. If somebody comes to the United States and they speak Hindi and they're driving, and they shouldn't be driving, that's the other thing. We should not be granting driver's license unless you speak English. Our road signs are in English. A public safety alert is in English. If you come here, you should make yourself a proud first-generation American. Millions and millions of immigrants already did the hard work of learning English. This is a very simple way to vet the 55 million. Go through the 55 million and just issue an English test to all 55 million. I don't know how it looks. You maybe go to DMV. Logistically, it's kind of going to be a nightmare. So sample it. Do like an audit. All right, 1 million out of 55, you just have been called in for an English test. And if you can't speak English, then more serious conversations are going to need to be had. You have an opportunity to learn English. You have the Rosetta Stone app. I mean, it's not that hard to learn English if you want to learn it. By the way, every year we spend billions on translations and interpreters and multilingual ballots and duplicate government services. We are one nation and one language, and that's how you build unity. We do not have 330 million interpreters on call. If you come here, you got to learn English. We don't bend the country to every nation or every language on earth. And again, selfishly, it would actually increase their marketability for jobs. I mean, it's very simple stuff. And they say, well, diversity is our strength. No, unity is our strength. Stop saying diversity is our strength. There's no evidence of that. Is diversity the strength in India? No. Is diversity the strength in South Africa? No. No, unity is our strength. A combined mission is our strength. Togetherness. A agreed upon cultural identity, an agreed upon people and purpose, not division. If a pilot has to speak English to land a plane, a visa holder should speak English to live in America. Very simple. Very, very simple. America was at its peak when we halted immigration for 40 years and we dropped our foreign-born percentage to its lowest level ever. We should be unafraid to do that. But for we have 55 million foreigners in this country, and I'm sure many of them are wonderful people. I'm sure some of them are ones that I know. But we got to take a step back and say, guys, that you're no longer a nation. You're something else. You're a colony. The idea and the perspective of what we think of the United States of America, I think needs to be a little bit reconsidered, because we have this 30, 40-year-old picture that anybody can come here. Anyone should come here at any time. And it's just not that simple. Email us as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Subscribe to our podcast. We'll be right back.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men, the first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. Fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit particlemen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.particlemen.com. Because seeing is believing.
Selling your home shouldn't be expensive or stressful. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
Ideal Agent connected me with the best realtor in my market, and I saved $12,500 as a result of it, and I got more than my asking price.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
He became one of the world's greatest leaders. He changed the course of history. Now, Lech Walesa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, is coming to North America on his first ever Grand Lecture Tour. Be part of this historic event. Meet the global leader live on stage as he takes you behind the scenes of history's greatest turning points and the greatest challenges of our time. Join the conversation that will shape our future. Register now at historyexplorer.com.
Are you disabled and can no longer work? This is an important message for you. Are you between the age of 45 and 63 and need help filing for disability benefits, or were denied by your insurance company or the Social Security Administration?
Call Premier Disability at 1-800-427-8055 now.
Whether you're a first-time filer or filed before and were denied,